Thank you all very much for coming out today. I also want to thank, we have a lot of our departmental leadership who wanted to be here today to join me in welcoming Mayor Nichols to his new office. Mayor Nichols and I just had a great conversation about the transition that'll occur over the next 25 days. He actually worked in this office before I did, so he didn't really need much showing around on the tour, but just got to show him the transition office that we provided for his team in the building that they'll be able to utilize for the next 25 days while he builds his administration. I also I told him this on election night, but that I conveyed to our team at the city yesterday. The most important thing that our team here at City Hall can do over the next 25 days is to provide him all the support and whatever he needs to start strong on December 2nd when he is sworn in as our mayor. I have been preparing for this for a year now, studying up on presidential transitions because there's not a lot of research out there on mayoral transitions. So maybe a little over the top, but even read a book on it. And there's really three traits that historically point towards successful transitions from one administration to the next as far as what the outgoing administration needs to do. Number one is start immediately. And we are here less than 48 hours after he was elected as our next mayor to kick things off. Number two is a positive tone needs to be set from the top. I sent an email to all of our city employees, every single one of them yesterday, telling them about my commitment and my desire to do all I can to help Mayor Nichols start strong on December 2nd, and that ought to be the priority for everybody on our team here at the city of Tulsa. And third, that the incoming mayor needs to be involved in key decisions that are made between election day and when they're inaugurated. I've invited Mayor Nichols to every substantive meeting that I've got over the next 25 days. He may have a few other things going on during that time, but he is welcome to those, and there will not be any important decisions made over the next 25 days that he's not involved in, so that he can continue that work once he's sworn into office. Our team is going to do everything that we can to be helpful to him and the administration that he develops. I also want to say on a personal note how pleased I am to have him, to know that he will be the mayor after I leave office. It is wonderful after spending 8 years to challenge our community to expect more from ourselves and to have high expectations, to want to build a city where every kid has an equal opportunity to have a great life, to know that we're going to have a mayor moving forward who shares those same values and those same expectations and those same high goals and aspirations for Tulsa. And so, again, I'm just very thankful to welcome him here to his new office, and I will turn it over to the 41st mayor of Tulsa, Mayor Monroe Nichols.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so very much. I do want to just start by, first of all, thanking Mayor Bynum. And I want to be clear, since we have a lot of cameras here, if you have some issues that need to be addressed in the next 25 days, he is still actually the mayor. Mayor-elect is what I'm doing right now. But I am excited, and I'm so appreciative for Mayor Bynum for your leadership, not just as mayor, but on the council. And our kids go to school together, so I also get to see him in a different capacity. And I just really want to let you know how much I appreciate not just this transition, but serving in office is not easy to do. Serving in office during a pandemic, during a flood, during a lot of unrest nationally, which impacts us here locally in very specific ways, is not an easy thing to do. And as I've thought about, my upcoming service as mayor, I think about making sure that the next person that I hand it off to, that I hand off something a little bit better than what I found. And I think that Mayor Bynum has handed something off a lot better than he found it. And I just, hopefully, I think we should give you a round of applause for your service to the city. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has showed up. Certainly those of you who serve here at City Hall. I think Monica back there, I think she named a dog after me at one point. I hope little Monroe's still around. I don't know if he is or not. But there's a lot of this that feels like coming home. And I'm just really grateful that you made the time to be here. I'm really excited about the work that we're going to do together. I think what you'll find in me is someone who's going to be not only your greatest advocate and a good coworker, but someone who's always going to be asking the questions about how do we continue to get a little bit better? How do we deliver services better? How do we make sure, as I've talked on the campaign trail, that every child in this community has a real shot in Tulsa? And I think that's what I feel when I get here, is folks who care about those very same things. And together, I have no doubt that we're going to continue to move this community forward and take Tulsa to the next level. We were talking in the back because of your hard work and the leadership of the mayor and the city councilors. I am the first mayor since 1992 to inherit a budget surplus, apparently. So it feels good. It feels good coming in. That means we have some opportunity to be good stewards of public resources, but also leave nothing on the table when it comes to making this city the best city in the country. I also just before I get done, I do want to just say that while I'm excited to take this new role, this next 25 days are going to be critically important. And as we run through the next 25 days, certainly for the folks in this room who lead departments and work here at the city, I'll be asking a lot of questions. Be patient with me, but just know it's in a desire to get it right. It's a desire to get it right. And then for folks who might be watching, I just, again, want to say thank you to Mayor Bynum at a time when, our country, oftentimes leadership transitions can be tricky. Tulsa is a shining example of how this is done. And that does not happen on accident. That happens when you have a great leader, of which Mayor Bynum has been. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And I look forward to serving everybody in this room as we go to serve the citizens of the city well. Thank you all for being here.
We would be happy to answer any questions that folks from the media might have.
If you do have questions, please just address them to either Mayor Bynum or Mayor-elect Nichols. We'll start with our first one, Russell.
Mayor-elect, when you walked out here, 12 years ago, was it in your head that you'd be coming back one day and taking the keys?
I don't know if I thought about it then. I think that I've always felt like City Hall was the best place to make an impact in people's lives. And the folks who are here who work at the city are a great reflection of that. And so I'm not sure I thought about it when I walked out of here, but I can tell you I'm sure happy to be back.
Quick follow-up.
Yeah.
I know folks that work here probably wonder, is everybody going to still be working here? Or is there, I don't know that much about mayoral transitions. So, is there a lot of personnel changes, or you pretty much expect to keep the same folks?
As I've looked up and down, we spent a little bit of time going through things. We're going to go through things. Most of the folks who are here are going to be here. And I think it's a reflection of how they serve folks across the city. Civil service also helps. But I do think, we go, and I want to make sure everybody here hears this. You go through campaigns and you talk about a lot of things that need to be fixed. And that's the nature of running a campaign. But there's a whole lot of things that we get right. And the employees at City Hall are a big reason why we get those things right. And so I'm not coming into a transition thinking about who needs to go. I'm coming into this transition thinking about how can I make the people who are here most successful, and I have a real role in that. And so I'm really excited to work with the people in this building because I know what they're capable of.
What are your thoughts on the Beyond Apology Commission and how you plan on serving?
Yeah, well, I know Mayor Bynum has some things that are still coming up. Maybe a question even slightly better addressed to him, but I think it's going to be critically important that we get some closure as a community and what that looks like. I think that commission is going to help us understand that. I've said during the campaign, I'll say now, I think my role as mayor is going to be as we go into the next several days and months and maybe years ahead, whether it be the DOJ investigation or the Beyond Apology Commission, that we do it in a unified way. So for me, my only attitude about it is that we're going to hold this community together. We're going to get the closure that we need. We're going to make the investments that we need to make sure that the history of Tulsa, both good and bad, is not nearly as important as a focus as the future of this community.
Yes.
Mayoral, you've made history right here in Tulsa as being the first Black mayor. Can you talk to me about the message that you have for the Black youth that have lived up to you throughout your campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is Mayor kind of alluded to a second ago, that this is a community that no matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what neighborhood you're from, you have a contribution to make, whether that is as a mayor, as a city councilor, as just somebody who's running a youth program at one of our parks facilities, that we all have to do it together, but there is no limit on anybody in this community. And I think we've proven that in our history, and we just made a little bit of history the other day, but it's very on brand for a community that I think is the best community in the country.
Mayor-elect, as Paris just mentioned and asked you about being the first Black mayor of Tulsa, just today, the archaeologists are opening up a new potential site where those mass graves might be. And so from 103 years to now being the first Black mayor here, how do you plan on continuing to assist in that search for those graves?
Look, again, I said it in reference to the question there, I really think this is about a question of closure. And I want us to be able to write some amazing chapters in Tulsa's history to come. And if that means that we have to go back and make sure that we can do it in a unified way, we'll do it. We'll do it. And it is nothing to say that to talk about seemingly the bad, but it's also about a good representation of how far we've come. And great cities don't really fear the past, but we use this context on how we build a better future. And so, I think it's a continuation to make sure, and I thank Mayor Bynum for his courage. Not easy to go after an effort like that. You don't have to do it. Tulsa's not the only place, actually, where these things have happened, but we're leading the country in how we're thinking about getting that closure and moving forward. And I'm excited to continue that work going forward.
Yeah.
What would be your immediately plans for the city of Tulsa? And also, how will be your relationship with the Hispanic audience, especially the new President Trump said they will deport a lot of Hispanic?
Yeah, well, I have not talked to President Trump, but I think it's been really clear from, I believe the mayor and I believe the Tulsa Police Department at this point, we don't have immigration police here. We have folks who are here to protect public safety. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Tulsa's not going to be a community where people have to live in fear. I talked about this being the safest big city in America. I look forward to working with the police department and the fire department to making sure that is true. But people don't have to live in fear, look over their shoulders in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm less worried about the president-elect of the United States. I'm more worried about how we're building a strong and excellent community where people don't feel fearful, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Have you talked to Commissioner Keith since the election results came in?
No, Commissioner called me Tuesday night. I missed her call. I've called her a couple of times since then. But I will say this, and I think it's important to say, I probably should have said this in my comments before. I was able to listen to portions of her speech Tuesday night, and I am so appreciative of her words, and I'm certainly appreciative of her service to the city. And I think, I talked in my speech on Tuesday night about our best days being ahead in Tulsa. And I imagine once we have that conversation, look forward to the commissioner being a real part of those best days that lie ahead. I can't say enough good things about her service to this point, and I want to leverage that as we continue to build an excellent city here.
Do you anticipate there may be an actual role for her in the administration?
I don't know. I haven't talked to her. I mean, I think it's a conversation to be had. Look, mayor knows this. Anybody who's served knows this. It's tough serving in elected office. The staff here knows it's hard serving citizens of a city the size of Tulsa. I think it starts with somebody, really wanting to do it, depending on where they are in their life and their career. But I look forward to having a conversation with the commissioner soon.
Throughout the campaign, the problems at the detention center were a common conversation during debates. It's something that the city has pretty stayed hands off of. As mayor, is that something that you would remain involved in or have a say in as they make their changes, improvements or non-improvements?
Yeah, I mean, I think the condition and well-being of kids is really important. And I think this might be an area where my previous legislative experience might be really helpful. One of the criticisms I have in the response to that is when there's a problem like that, legislators really aren't notified. as to what's going on. And what happens in that situation is accountability is so spread that, victims have a hard time knowing who to go to. And if they go to somebody, will something happen? I think it's about the condition of kids in this community. And so, it's something that I do plan on being involved in. When I served here in the mayor's office, one of the areas that we really worked on was intervening with kids who had been in the court system, who were at the juvenile bureau back in the day. And I think we need to think about those partnerships again. But I think number one is making sure that legislative priorities from Tulsa, given these are kids from our community, by the way, right? That one of those priorities is making sure we clean up the accountability around detention centers here in Tulsa, but certainly across the state as well.
Mayor Bynum, what advice have you been able to offer that you wish you had gotten 8 years ago?
Well, I mean, I provided the mayor a memo that I spent several weeks working on of all the things that I wish I had known when I came in. And that's everything from how many boards the mayor serves on, and you ought to think about who you might want to have as a designee on that, to how our civil service and at-will system works. There's a lot of details that aren't necessarily super public, but that come into the responsibility of running an organization of this size. And we had a really good visit about that earlier. We'll continue that over the next 25 days. And again, I said it before, but I'll say it again, anything that he needs that he identifies, not just in the next 25 days, but moving forward, I'll view after 2 p.m. on December 2nd, my job as a citizen is to support our mayor and whatever he needs from me to be successful in his job.
We have time for one more question.
Mayor G.T. Bynum, is there anything that you weren't able to complete that you will pass off to Mayor-elect through his time as mayor?
So many things. And I've found in the last few weeks, I've gotten this constant headache because I'm grinding my teeth thinking about all these things that I see need to be done, and I don't have the time in which to fix them. I wish I were just handing him the keys and everything is perfect and fixed. But the reality is no mayor has ever been able to do that. By the nature of the way cities are, there are always things arising that need to be fixed. I think there are things that Mayor Nichols comes into office better prepared to deal with than I was, candidly, as a mayor. I think he has a better understanding of the state legislative process than I did. I think he has a better understanding of the educational system than I did. I think he has the opportunity for a reboot with the tribal governments in a way that I don't at this point. And so there are a lot of things where, I did not seek re-election because I'm a big believer that there ought to be new energy and new ideas in this job at least every 8 years. And a big benefit is that you have somebody come in with a different skill set, different knowledge base, and the opportunity to start afresh. And he has that. So I'm excited about the opportunity that he has from that standpoint.
Mayor, do you know who's going to be on your transition team? Can you tell us?
I will tell you soon enough. We'll get some information out to you pretty quick.
All right. Mayor Bynum, can I just ask what's next for you after, December 2nd?
I will leave office on December 2nd, and at 8 a.m. on December 3rd, I will report to the St. Francis Health System, where I'm working as the Vice President for Community and Government Affairs over there, helping them with all of their work, supporting health initiatives in the community, as well as their government relations work at the local, state, and federal levels. That's a role that they have not had in the past, but they're our largest employer. I think they're one of the greatest forces for good in Tulsa, and I'm terribly excited for the chance to be part of their leadership team at St. Francis.
Thank you, everyone.
I do want to close just again, Mayor, and I was mayor-elect for 6 months. I hate that term, so I'm just going to call him Mayor Nichols, even though he told me not to. He can tell me not to after December 2nd, and I'll listen.
You're still the mayor.
But Mayor Nichols alluded to this. We have a close personal relationship that goes beyond the public realm. And on election night, my daughter texted me, who won? And I said, Gavin's dad, because that's how he is known in the Bynum house. And we love Gavin. We love the mayor, and we're just excited to support them as they lead our city moving forward. Thank you all for coming out. We'll be available for individual interviews. Thanks. Thanks a lot.